I'm behind on my reviews. I haven't done any of them in forever, so I have to remedy the situation. Starting with Trust, A New Beginning, which is the first book in the adult trilogy Trust by Cristiane Serruya. And let's get talking. Well, this is actually not the book, this is just a printout of the cover, because I have the book in ebook format on my Kindle, for lack of a better word. So what is the Trust trilogy? Well, I'll tell you. Told from three people's different point of views. We have Sophia, Ethan, and Alistair. And yes, you are right, it is a love triangle, but lucky for readers like me who like different points of view, we get to be in all of their heads. I mean, not at the same time, obviously, but it's kind of nice to have more point of views, because that way we get more of the story. So the first book, A New Beginning, came out in November of 2012, and it is actually Cristiane's first book. I got my copy from her to review, which I should also point out that has absolutely no effect whatsoever on my opinion of the book. So let's review, shall we? I gave this book 5 stars on Goodreads. To be honest, at the beginning I thought it would only make it up to 3 stars, but open-minded person that I am, I just kept reading, and it grew on me. As the pages flew by, and fly they did, the stars just shined brighter and brighter, and those initial 3 stars made it all the way up to 5. So starting with the very brief, non-spoiler section, it was a good book. I liked it. Go read it. So here's part of the blurb. They're beautiful, they're rich, they're strong-willed and successful. They have everything but love, and each of them has a dark secret looming in their past. Sounds intriguing, doesn't it? Well, it is set in real-world London in late 2009, early 2010. Well, it's mostly in London, but there's also a little bit of Geneva, so let's go with Europe. Yeah, it's in Europe. Like I mentioned already, it follows 3 people. That's Sophia, who is a 25-year-old widow, Ethan, a 35-year-old steel industry tycoon, and Alistair, a 34-year-old banker. They each have their flaws and dark secrets and lots of money, and it's quite enjoyable to read. Did I mention the pretty nice hot and steamy scenes? Yeah, there are several of those. It definitely made it more interesting, I have to say. So go read it and then come back and we can discuss it. So for the rest of us that have already read it, or if you don't mind being spoiled, let's talk. And P.S. there will be spoilers here. I wish I had the lavish light delete. I mean, it sounds really awesome. It must be nice to have everything you could ever want. Have I ever mentioned how much I love Europe? And no, the fact that I grew up there doesn't make me biased. Okay, maybe a little, but nonetheless, Europe is an enchanting place. The castles, the history, the nature. Ah, Europe. There's no other place like it. But I'm getting off point, so let's talk about the people in this book. So first there's Sophia. She's 25, she's a widow, like I mentioned, and she has a 3-year-old, very awesome 3-year-old daughter. She has money of her own, but she's also inherited her husband's oil company, which basically means that she is set for life. Her and her daughter, and probably generations to come, are well set. And in addition to that, she's absolutely beautiful, intelligent, strong, and super successful. She gets what she wants, and she leads her husband's oil company with a steel fist. But with all that blissfulness, what money could bring you, she is also a little miserable. Well, not exactly, because her daughter is awesome. She has nightmares every night, kind of a PTSD thing going on. And did I mention she has secrets? Lots of them. Something happened when her husband died, something bad. Something that we don't really find out in this book. I assume the whole story will eventually be revealed in later books. But what we do know is that her husband was kidnapped, she was shot, and she doesn't remember a whole lot from the 2 months surrounding those events. Also, she did something then that she does remember. something horrible, but we don't know what that is either. There are a lot of secrets that we don't find out in these books. We know they're there, we just don't know what they are exactly. But because of that, she's absolutely freaked about her daughter's security. She would do anything to keep her safe. Also, she hides her true identity, which is the Leibowitz widow, from people who don't know who she is, but to be honest, that's more of a security precaution thing. So, can't judge for that. Then there's Eden. He seems a bit creepy, I'll give you that. Okay, a lot creepy. But I keep thinking that there's more to his story than what we've seen so far. His past is pretty screwed up. He obviously has parental issues, mommy issues to be exact. I mean, I'm pretty open-minded and to each their own and all that, but I really do not get that. It would mess with anyone's head, I would think. And childhood is where we get most of our messiness to begin with. But other than that, he is kind of possessive and, for a lack of a better word, spoiled. I guess a lot of money would do that to ya. What he wants, he gets, and that's that. A woman to love, though, he hasn't been able to find. And when he spots Sophia, he decides that he has to have her. It seems that he wants her just for the simple fact that he wants her and not because he loves her, but time changes things. And also, he's abusive towards her, which, if you ask me, comes from the whole possessiveness thing, but that's pretty much Eden. And we know that he also has some kind of secrets, but we don't have hints as to what they are. We have more hints towards Sophia's secrets, and Ethan, as of this book, is kind of in the back burner with the whole secrets thing, but I'm sure we'll learn more about him in the next books. Last but not least is Alistair, who has an ex-wife, dead now, so he has that in common with Sophia. And his ex-wife is a little bit of a BDSM kind of person, so she taught him about all that stuff. And now he considers himself ruined for all the normal people, so he goes out with one-night stands and has his wicked way with them and then just forgets about them completely. And he has a lot of anger issues towards his ex-wife, which makes him a very, very angry person, but deep down I think he has a very nice heart. Wow, that sounded super naive right now. And when it comes to Sophia, unlike Eden, he decides he wants her due to the immediate attraction that they both feel towards each other, but he wants her for a one night stand kind of thing. It's not a long-term thing, whereas Eden wants Sophia because he wants her. And with him it's more of a long-term thing, but it's also a more possessive thing. So that pretty much concludes the characters part of this video. Moving on to relationships. At first we have Ethan and Sophia, and like I mentioned, Ethan is very possessive. He decides he wants her and she's not looking for anything serious, so she kind of jumps into it with him. Well, she doesn't really give in so easy. It takes a couple months, I think, until they finally go on a couple dates and then start sleeping together. Eventually into the relationship, Ethan proves to be an abusive boyfriend, which is not something I condone. It really pisses me off when guys decide to be like that. Even if they have a legitimate reason for being this way, it's still abusive towards your partner. Is abusive no matter if it's a female abusing her male partner or a male abusing his female partner, or female and female and male and male. The point is, if you abuse your partner, that is just not cool, okay? It's really not. But the thing is, Eden is really jealous, and I don't know how many times I've already said this, but possessive towards Sophia, and he wants her for himself. And then there's Alistair. Sophia and Alistair have this immediate physical attraction to each other. It's not exactly love, it's more of a lust at first sight kind of thing. And Sophia is a more serious relationships kind of person, whereas Alistair, like I mentioned, is a one night stands kind of person. But eventually they decide to give it a go and have their wild, crazy, love-making relationship. Personally, when it comes to the relationships, I like Sophia and Alistair better, but I have to mention that there's also abuse there too, even though that is more of a sensual abuse, if you can call it that, because that's just part of the role-playing thing. But also, Alistair, while he is not possessive and jealous in the same way Ethan is, he also has those traits in him, and he carries that anger in him all the time, which really transfers very bad in a relationship. And then there's little Gabby, who is Sophia's really awesome 3-year-old daughter. With Ethan, Sophia kind of hides her from him for quite some time, until eventually she introduces her to Ethan. Ethan doesn't take well to little Gabriella. He really doesn't. He has a thing against children which comes from his mommy issues, which is understandable, but there's also the thing where he wants Sophia all for himself, and he doesn't understand that when it comes to a mother and her child, it's kind of like, well, the child would always come first, and Ethan wants him to always come first for Sophia, and Sophia can give him that. But when it comes to Alistair, oh my god, he takes up to the little girl like she is his own, and it's really adorable, and they go out together, and Gabriella really likes him, and there's this whole thing there which is absolutely amazing. And the thing is, Alistair used to have a daughter who actually kind of looks like Gabriella. They could have been sisters, which is also really ironic a little bit if you think about it. But sadly, that little girl is no longer in the picture because of his ex-wife's stupidness, which is another torch of anger he carries. But it's really awesome to compare how the two guys, while so different in many ways, are also kind of the same in some ways, and they react to Sophia's kid in completely different ways. They're like polar opposites. I also have to mention the CEO of the oil company. I mean, he proves to be a really great friend to her. I'm not sure if he has any romantic feelings towards Sophia, but he is kind of like her best friend. She goes to him for everything and shares everything with him. He knows her whole story. He knows the super bad thing that she did back when, and he's the one person she relies on. So I thought I'd mention him. I think he might have a bigger role maybe in the next books. He's always there, and I think that would mean something eventually. I just hope Sophia doesn't take him for granted, because he really proves to be a great friend. So I can't wait to see what happens in the next book, which is Trust Betrayed. It came out in April, and I have not read it yet as I do not have it yet, but I'm really curious to see where all of these storylines go and what secrets will be revealed or what secrets would be hinted at. And also there will be a third book called Pandora's Box, which I think comes out at the end of this year or maybe early next year. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm super excited for it. I think that about sums it up for now. I'm pretty sure I forgot a lot of the things I wanted to say, but that's what happens when you make a review of a book you read a month ago. Trust, A New Beginning. Go read it.